Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Jackie. If you're new, I live in Zone 8A in the area of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I wanted to just update you all on my seedlings since it's been, I don't know, about a week or so since my last video. So I wanted you to get an update on that as well as what I'm doing now. The weather has warmed up quite a bit the last few days. We've still had some cold nights down in the low 40s. And I think next week we're supposed to have a almost freezing, I think down to 33. But our days have been around mid 60s. Today is a 75. Tomorrow's close to 80. I believe Friday's close to 80. So we definitely have some nice weather. Feels like spring. So I have actually brought my seedlings outside since it is so warm and sunny. There's hardly any clouds at all in the sky. So let's flip you around. Okay, so here are all my seedlings. They are doing really well. I still have the gnat problem. I have tried my best to get rid of them. Actually, someone on the comments suggested to use some vermiculite on top. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do. I think our seed store downtown carries that, and I need to go get some more compost anyway. But they are still looking good besides the gnat issue. A lot of the tomatoes, I only have a couple that haven't sprouted yet, like my mini San Marzano. I have some blue boar berries that haven't sprouted, but one did. The other one just hadn't. So I had resown a couple of these after the first round, and they have since sprouted up. So I'm going to probably resow more seeds. It's a little past the time to sow them because our last frost date is usually around the first week of April. So we only have a couple weeks left before that, and I will still wait maybe about a week or two after that to put anything outside, at least maybe my peppers. I don't want them to get stunted. So if the nights are above 50 consistently, then they're okay to go outside. But if it's anywhere 50 or below, even for a night or two, it could stunt them. So I have plenty of room in my little greenhouse to keep them under lights and, keep watering, that they'll be okay for several more weeks. But they are doing well, and they are outside getting some sunshine. They don't really look too leggy to me. A couple are a little bit taller. This is an Amish paste back here. Regular San Marzano. I've got my sweet peas. I just watered them, so kind of fallen over. But I've got the little sweet, I think it's called Little Sweetheart. That's actually going to go up in one of these hanging baskets. I've got my eggplants that are coming up, and a couple of black beauties. And the long purple ones are doing, that's actually what this is right here, these long purple eggplants. They're doing really well. Still have a few peppers that haven't come up, like the Sugar Rush Peach, some Carmen. I think this is another Sugar Rush Peach, Big Jim. So I will sow a few more pepper seeds. We have a long growing season, so I'm not too worried about not getting them to the point where they'll actually produce something. Over here, this is what I've done recently. These are facing this way, so I realized I didn't have any oregano started, so I've started some oregano, started some chamomile, started some regular alyssum. I've got, what is this? Some cut and come again zinnias that are already sprouted. Some polar bear zinnias here. I just kind of, I just sprinkled a bunch of seeds on here and to get them started. They're probably going to go into some of these pots on the front porch. And then over here, I did find some pumpkin spice jalapenos that I wanted to get started, so those are coming up. I've got some basil, all kinds of basil seeds in here. Let's see. That is that's marigold. I also have marigolds. So I've got a key lime marigold. I've got Cracker Jack mixed marigolds, and then all of these are basil. Lime basil, a everleaf basil, holy basil, a dwarf basil, mammoth basil, sweet basil, and actually, I guess I didn't mark this, so that's my lemon basil. I didn't mark this one, so I really don't know what that is. And then over here, I've got some okra. It was time to start okra this past weekend, so that was my time frame to start on my basil, my okra, and some zinnias. So I've got two different types of okra. I've got some Hill Country Red and some Clemson Spineless okra. Just 4 plants. So I've got those. So those are all my seedlings. They are doing very well. And despite the gnat issue still going on, it hasn't affected much, hopefully. So they will stay out here for the day and tomorrow as well. I'll bring them in at night, of course, but for the day they can get lots of good sunshine. In this big pot here, I did plant some dill. I direct sowed it, so I've got some mammoth dill kind of in the back area here, and pretty sure I did some zinnia seeds in here, or maybe, I actually can't remember what I did. So I do have some mammoth dill in here, and I've got some smaller dill in the back. But this hanging basket, I plan to do some, I think it's the Space Master cucumbers that are good with containers. So I plan to try those in here. And then this other hanging pot, I've got probably the little sweethearts, sweet peas. And that'll be very pretty. These veggie pods back here, I've moved them off the pavement because one of my biggest, biggest issues with this is all this growing in between the cracks, and I just can't stand it. So today I plan to kind of weed whack around the border, kind of weed whack the bigger areas like this, and then I actually do spray some weed killer in these cracks. That's the only time I use it because I can't stand how it looks. It just kind of looks real messy. So I get rid of the weeds in these cracks and just weed whack the border, and then throughout the summer I'll just keep it sprayed down because I can't stand it when it grows all in here. But anyway, these veggie pods, I have planted some spinach in here, hoping they might grow up. I just kind of broadcasted some seeds because they do grow so quickly. And this other one, I did some of the bouquet dill, which I still have a carrot trying to grow. But I did some bouquet dill on this side, and there's already little sprout. Happy birthday. Little sprout there. And I did some cilantro over here. Kind of a big row of that. Nothing's popped up yet. I am keeping the top of this watered to keep those seeds moist. But that's all I've done the veggie pods so far. And in my tower, I still have the parsley. I sowed we did the dwarf peas together, and they are all pretty much, they've all pretty much sprouted now all the way around. So those will start coming up pretty strong. I did parsley in the other 3 containers here on the bottom, more of it, and then I did some more cilantro in this 3rd row all the way around. None of that sprouted yet, but we love Mexican food, and my husband loves everything with cilantro. He loves cilantro, so I wanted to try to grow a bunch of that this year to do salsas and all that kind of stuff. So I've got that. I've got 2 more tiers left to plant. That's probably going to be for some dwarf alyssum. I've got some of that planted, or, you know, the seeds started for that. So I've got some dwarf alyssum that I'll put in a couple of these. I might try a couple of dwarf tomatoes in a couple of these. Not really sure what else I'm going to put in it besides the alyssum just yet. So we will see. I will definitely put some dwarf tomatoes in these veggie pods. And for the moment, that's all I've done so far. Still gonna wait to I'll probably clear out these pots today with what's trying to grow again and get those ready. And I have to nail down exactly what I'm doing in these 4 smaller bags and pot. So besides the weed whacking, because we had a ton of rain the last couple of weeks, couple of good days, it rained all day long. And we now have especially along the fence line underneath those veggie pods where I water constantly, these areas by the beds, it's just getting a little grown, a little too grown for what I like. I don't like to mow all the time. I like to let it grow up a little bit. But these areas are starting to get to where they need weed whacked. So I'm going to mulch these onion beds finally. I think I had said I'd do that in one of the last videos and I just didn't. So I'm going to mulch around here, but they're still looking great. My garlic is still looking great. I am going to fertilize this evening. I didn't beat the sun early enough to do that before the day started, but I am going to fertilize again with that Neptune's Harvest liquid fertilizer. But they are looking a lot better even after just the first application of it. So I'm going to fertilize this evening. I'm going to mulch these 3. I don't want to tear these out yet because I'm trying to get the seeds from this kale. So the flowers haven't completely opened yet. They've opened a little bit on the other one. Hear that crow talking. I did already amend this bed. I still have some things trying to grow, obviously, but they're easy to tear out. And that's just because I cut these plants off at the base and left the roots in to just decompose. But I'll probably put some worm castings on here, and that's just ready for the next planting of vegetables. These are still here. The bees are still loving them, so they're going to stay in until I can get some flowers open for them. And I'm going to try to save some seeds as well from these. I actually don't know how to save seeds from broccoli. I think I know, but I don't fully know. So I'll have to look that up. But I still got some bees that are happy as can be. So I'm gonna get this bucket amended, and that'll be ready for the next planting as well. So that's what I'm working on today. One thing I want to try to do this year is save a lot of seeds, and not a ton, but especially from things like just had another sneezing fit, so I had to pause for a second, but seeds. So I want to try to save a lot of seeds this year. Not a ton. I won't have enough plants to let everything go to seed. And you know, besides things like my tomatoes and peppers, I've saved seeds from tomatoes before. But definitely want to try to save some seeds and just get a storage of that. I'm constantly buying seeds, because I'm able to at the moment, but I definitely want to try to do some seeds, especially later in the season with things like my basil, my herbs, all that kind of stuff. So that is a goal this year. I don't keep seeds in the freezer or anything for long term. I don't have like a stash of that yet, but I believe that is something you can do for long term. You can keep seeds in the freezer as kind of like, I don't know, fail safe. But I definitely want to try that this year. I need to empty the bags of soil and cow manure and stuff that I have in this porch. I have a couple open bags that I need to just get in the rest of the pots, get in the beds, so I can kind of clean this area up. I do have to go downtown to get more bags of compost because I have neglected planting my potatoes that I bought a couple weeks ago. They're still in the bags out here, so I need to get those to the other house. They will be planted at my grandma's house because I have a space ready for them. I just need to add some compost on top. And I don't cut my tomatoes up or potatoes up or anything. I just plant them whole. I don't have enough room for that many plantings, so I just leave them whole, put them in the ground, and they did decent for me last year. I don't have areas to store gallons of buckets of potatoes, so I don't need that many. I just like a few for, you know, just some cooking, that kind of thing. And so I need to get some compost to take over to that house and get those potatoes in the ground. I think I've decided to plant my peppers my hot peppers, over at my grandma's house instead of having them all here. I still might keep one or two. Not sure. I don't have a ton of hot peppers, but we do have a lot of pollinators here, and I don't want to, if I'm going to save seeds, I want to keep those separate so that whenever I plant seeds next year, if I plant the ones that I saved from this year, if they cross-pollinate, you know, they're not going to be true to the original plant. So I might do all my hot peppers over there and leave the sweet bell peppers for here, because I'm not going to use my hot peppers as much as my sweet bell peppers. So I might do that just to keep them separated. I'm going to have most of my tomatoes here. I might do things like my tomatillos at my grandma's house. If I have multiples of one type of tomato plant, I might do one here, one there, just because of the cattle panels that are already set up at my grandma's house. I still want to make use of them. I haven't taken them down or anything. Chewing on. So I might split them up a little bit. I would need to go ahead and amend those beds over there if I choose to do that, which would mean I would need to get compost for that as well, which is fine. I can. So we're getting to the point where I gotta nail down my decisions. This weekend is very exciting for me because I get to start my cucumbers and my squash seeds, which I have been impatiently waiting for. I'm not going to put any outside yet because we still have that 1 or 2 nights next week where it's going to be close to freezing. And even though the days are going to be really warm, I just don't want to put them outside yet because the last couple of years I haven't had a great cucumber harvest at all. Last year I didn't get any. And squash was like, I may not have even gotten zucchini last year. I think I just got it the year before, and that wasn't great. I only did 2 plants at the time. So this year I'm gonna start way more seeds. I have these bigger cups to put them in because I ran out of my 2-inch pots. So I just saved these from started plants I bought the last couple years gonna clean them out. And I'm gonna start my cucumbers and squash on those so that they have ample room to grow since they'll grow so fast. But I plan to start a lot of that, of each one. And I will find space to put them because I really want a lot of zucchini and cucumbers. So I get to start those this weekend. I will probably do a video on that. And I like them also because the seeds are rather large, so they're easy to sow. You know, the basil, I was just like, wow, these are small. So each basil cup that I did, it wasn't just one seed in a pot like I had done with my tomatoes or peppers. I just kind of sprinkled a bunch on top. And when the time comes, I'll just put it all out there. I might separate it a little bit to have several different spots of basil, that kind of thing. But I like the cucumber and squash seeds because they're really large. So those I start this weekend. I think that might be all I'm sowing this weekend. I don't direct seed any of my beans until after the first week of April. There'll be a day where I can direct sow those outside. So I'm not going to start those at all. I'm not going to do any other peas. I just did the dwarf peas because they can go in the green stock. And I don't plan on trying to harvest a bunch of peas to freeze or anything like that. You know, like little green peas. We buy those all the time in the freezer section because I like to add them to all kinds of casseroles and soups and stuff. But I figured I'd just try beans this time, and then maybe next year we'll add peas. So that is my task for today, is to weed whack, kind of amend and get those grow bags ready, and the bucket that's out there. The other bucket still has the thyme and stuff in it, so I've just been fertilizing that, added a little compost in it. And there's one kale plant that's still giving me some kale. So it's almost time to have everything out in the yard, but I still have a few weeks left. So in the meantime, we will just amend, fertilize the beds, and eagerly await to plant everything out. So I will turn this back on when I get done with the weed whacking. I'm going to do that first so that this weed killer can, you know, do its magic in the sun. So we will see you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, I think I am done for today. I did the weed whacking around my patio here, and I sprayed all these weeds in between all the cracks. I went ahead and amended these grow bags with the compost, took out a little more of the root that was in each one where it was trying to grow back. So I got those ready, and then I did the weed whacking throughout all these garden beds and buckets, just underneath and around the posts. And went ahead and mended this other bucket over here. So that's all ready. And I mulched the onion beds, or buckets rather. I just took the leaves from the front from our big tree, mulched all of that. Our big tree that we raked up all the leaves in the fall. I had actually put a bunch in a kind of one of those yard paper bags, filled up a bunch of leaves in that, and it's just been sitting on the back porch. So I just used that to cover those beds. I do have more leaves up front that are around the tree. I just raked them all up at the base of the tree and left them all winter. And I can pull from that if I need to. I'll probably use that to cover these veggie pods. And I'll probably put a little in these grow bags. That's just going to help retain moisture a lot easier so that the top doesn't dry out as quickly. So I think that is all I'm going to do for today. It is rather, to me, it's rather warm out from not having this warm weather, you know, for several months. It's a little different when you're working outside and it's a lot hotter and it's straight sun. So you know, you need to drink a lot of water. Stay hydrated, folks, when you're working outside. It's easy to get dehydrated. So I am done outside for the day. I keep looking at this bee that's, I don't know if you can see him, he's kind of, you need to find your way back out here, buddy. It's like he's trying to go the wrong way. Come out here. But anyway, I am done working outside for now. I am gonna head inside and clean up. I've got sausage patties thawing in the sink. I'm gonna make some breakfast English muffins, and sausage, egg, and cheese, that kind of thing. I'm gonna make some of those to freeze so we can just grab and go when we need to. And I will come back out here when the sun is kind of further down and go ahead and water everything. And I've got the bucket of liquid fertilizer that I'm gonna spray on everything again for this week. I'm gonna do that when the sun gets a little further down so I don't burn anything. But I am gonna call it a day. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, and subscribe below if you're new. If you haven't already, that helps me out so much. Give this a thumbs up, and we will see you guys later on. Have a good day. Bye.